Hey guys, welcome to this week's podcast episode. Your girl Letitia here. We are still doing the series Doing Business Well. And we have had a lot of phenomenal guests. Have been able to pull on some of my great relationships and individuals are women that I know that are doing well in business and them sharing their gems, right, with us. We've talked about systems, how you can have systems in your life as well as in your business, or should I say how you should have systems in your life as well as in your business. We've also chatted about building the right teams and what that entails and creating culture as a leader. And so we've had a lot of great conversations. Oh, and let's not forget about trademarking. We talked about the importance of trademarking, how innocence is not a defense, girl. I know I used to think I could, cry wolf, not cry wolf, but I used to think that I could just say, well, I know, like seriously, like I really didn't know. But they don't care, okay? When it comes to legal matters, we have to make sure that we're doing our due diligence, right? To protect our businesses and our side hustles and the things that we have going on. So this has been a really great series, and we do have more to come, ladies. We are going to be talking about the tough seasons in business as well. And I'm really excited about being able to hop into those conversations too. But before we get there, I really wanted to chat with you all about the leadership space, right? There is such a difference in being a solopreneur, which is someone who is doing all the things in their business, right? It's just you. You're dependent on yourself. You're reliant on yourself and no one else, right? To being an entrepreneur that has a staff or a team or people that you are responsible for, right? People that you are looking to help you execute your vision. Um, it's a different way of doing things. And so we touched on this a little bit in building effective teams, but I'm going to talk about it today from becoming like you as an individual, becoming a strategic leader and understanding your leadership brand. And I'm really excited to do that. Let me give you a little bit of backdrop because you're probably like, okay, Letitia, that's great. But I do got a little bit of education and knowledge in this space. And so I have a master's in organizational leadership. I do consulting, workshops, and trainings around leadership, ranging from areas of effective leadership to communication and leadership to team building. And the list just goes conflict resolution. The list just goes on and on. I'm just naming a couple of things off the top of my head because at the end of the day, our organizations, even our business, even if we're a solopreneur, it's still run by a person. We still have to deal with people. Even if you are doing all the things on your own, you still have to reach out, connect with your clients, right? And then you probably have to have some type of partnership with a vendor, right, that you're using. And so everything revolves around people, everything. And so understanding who you are as a leader is extremely important. So today we're going to touch a lot on you, right? I'm going to use myself as an example in this conversation. So when we think about leadership, so let's talk a little bit about the difference between leadership and management, right? So leadership is when you're coming from a place of influence, right? You are empowering individuals, you're enabling them, you're working through individuals, you're helping them rise to their fullest potential. You are exciting people, right? You are getting people motivated. They're buying in to the vision, to the call of action, to the purpose, to the passion. They're buying into those things, right? And as a manager, you're pretty much just trying to make sure that all of the responsibilities and the tasks and the things that need to be accomplished are taking place, right? That you're getting the job done, that you're reaching the status quo, that you're doing it as effectively as you can. And it's a lot about, I don't want to say dictatorship because it depends on what type of manager you are, but you hear things like micromanaging, right? You just want to make sure that this thing gets done. You're not really so much concerned about the person or the individual or building them. You're more concerned about the result, right? And so both is necessary, right? We want to be effective leaders, and we want to build an awesome team, right? But we also want to make sure that it's functional and that it's effective and that it's productive. So both of those things are important. But when we talk about, you want to have a healthy balance of both. That's kind of the goal, right? You want to have a healthy balance of both. But I think so often people stray over to the management side and confuse that with leadership. Leadership requires a different set of tools, right? A different set of skills. A lot of people call them soft skills, but they're actually essential skills that you need when dealing with people. The organization is made up of people. It's an organism, right? Even from using the word organization, it's an organism. It's living, it's evolving, it's growing. That is us as people. You're adding new people on, you're adding new personalities, people with different goals, people with different motivations, people with different experiences, people with different ways of doing things. It's a lot of different people coming together to achieve the vision or the mission that this particular organization has, whatever that objective is. And so as a leader, you're responsible for how this organization functions, right? It ultimately falls on you. And so where we really need to start is with you as the individual. I always say, if the culture is not healthy, look at the leader. If things is toxic, look at the leader. If communication is broken, look at the leader. If productivity is low, look at the leader. We got to look at the leader because everything flows top down. All right. So people are going to do what they see you doing. You set the tone, you create the space, you are the example. And so with that being said, we really have to examine ourselves. We have to be so self-aware as a leader. We have to know what triggers us, right? We have to know what triggers us. We have to know where we're not as strong. We have to know where we are really strong or maybe even too strong. We have to know areas in which we need improvement. We have to know areas in which we need balance, where we need someone else to come in and kind of balance that out for us. We have to know ourselves really well because we are setting the tone for the way that our businesses are going to function and the culture that we're going to create. And so I don't know about you, but I am definitely an advocate for creating spaces where innovation can thrive, where people feel like they can authentically be themselves, bring their ideas, that their voice will be heard, that they are valued, that they have the freedom and the autonomy to work in their zone of genius, right? And so I'm a proponent of allowing people to work to their fullest potential. But sometimes people don't know what their potential is. And then sometimes as a leader, you have to kind of pull that out, or you have to provide opportunities for them to be able to stretch in that way and to grow in that way. And y'all, the stuff I'm saying, it takes a lot of work. It's not just something that you just wake up and you just do. It is something that you're super, super intentional about. It's something that you're aware about, right? So self-awareness will also help you be more aware of those around you. Those around you, your impact or your influence on them, their impact and their influence on you. And it's just so, so important. And so some of the ways that as a leader you can do this is, I always, when I first started, I took personality tests to really get a gauge, because sometimes it's difficult to see where you fall short or to see like how you tend to move, right? Some people are authoritative leaders, some people are passive leaders. We all have different leadership styles and different communication styles, right? But we also have to figure out which style is going to work best for our team and for the the vision and the mission and the culture that we're looking to create in the space that we work in every day, right? The space that we are creating, right? The space that we want to thrive and build. And so personality assessment. So I'll talk a little bit about my first personality assessment, child. I was like, oh my goodness, this is so on. Like I just, oh yes, yes, this is me. This is not me. This I like to do. And then it turned out, I can't remember the exact like 4-letter thing. I think I definitely was like an INF something. But what I do remember is that it said like, I would definitely be good as a judge. I would definitely be good as a lawyer or somewhere in law enforcement. And so funny story, when I was younger, I absolutely wanted to be an FBI agent. And so I was like, oh, this is so like resonating with me. But what it did really tell me is that I really have a black and white viewpoint, right? And so I can be judgmental, right? And I can be like, I just feel like right is right and wrong is wrong, right? And so that can be kind of authoritative, right? And kind of direct, right? Not really trying to play around, not trying to beat around the bush. And so I took that test, oh my goodness, back when I was getting my bachelor's. And it was really helpful for me because I kind of knew that, but then it was kind of a name was kind of put to it. But what I also recognize is that people don't always relate and connect to those type of personalities. It's a little bit more challenging to get people to trust you. It's a little bit more challenging to get people to want to work with you and to build with you, because a lot of times when you have that type of personality, it can be intimidating to other people. They can feel like they are walking on eggshells, like they can't do anything wrong, and if they do something wrong, you're automatically going to call them out. And so I had to learn that there were some things that I had to work on if I wanted to be able to build with people. And so that was my first time in realizing that there's some work that I might have to do. Like I might be prone to moving this way, but if I'm trying to create a different type of space or environment, then I have to make some adjustments and I have to work on me, right? And so the other test I took was an Enneagram. And that really is, and there are many personality tests. I've taken other ones, but I'm just talking about these two right now. The Enneagram kind of shows you what your motivation is, right? And so what you're motivated by. And so the results from that, I kind of knew at that point I had developed and had been working on myself and being self-aware. And so what stood out to me in that test was it showed me that I'm kind of triggered by feeling like I'm being blamed for something, which then kind of stems from not wanting to be wrong, not wanting to do the wrong thing, and then in turn have someone blame me for something. And so I had to realize that that is a trigger point for me. And so in certain spaces or certain situations, I can take things personal, right? And so as a leader, I now have to, when things happen, I have to take a few steps back. Like I can't, like some can't happen and then I'm having a meeting 20 minutes later. Okay. Cause I'm gonna be on that meeting like super defensive, not coming in a place where, people can, fully express themselves and we can come to a conclusion and work through whatever the situation is, because I know that I'm triggered by feeling like someone is blaming me for something or someone is saying that I did something wrong. And so I recognize that that's something that I have to work on. I can't just turn around and have a meeting. I have to wait and I have to maybe kind of speak to my mentor, or I might have to speak to a trusted friend that can kind of help me balance it out and give myself time to take the personal piece of it out of the equation so that I can move forward and continue to be the example that I'm looking for my team to have, right? And so those are just a couple of examples of ways in which I have had to adjust and grow as a leader. My therapy journey has been extremely helpful in that space as well, because the more you know yourself, the more you can actually give to other people. Leadership is also very much about serving, right? Serving others. And so sometimes there are things going on with us that block us from being able to walk in that position and being humble in that space. And so when I say serving other people, I mentioned earlier that leadership is learning how to work through others, right? And enabling them. That's really serving them, right? That's really serving them. So, for example, if I have an individual that's on my team and they are, let's say, working on an assignment for me, and I've given them that assignment, I want to create a space where they can share with me what they're doing. They can come to me about what their ideas are, where I'm not micromanaging them. We're just going over the high level details and deadlines, and I'm letting them know what, the expected outcome is, and if it's something where it's like, involving other people, like the kind of feel I want it to have and what type of brand, I am. And because ultimately your team is an extension of you, right? Because we're all branding ourselves. You're branding yourself as a leader. You're branding yourself as a boss. You're branding yourself as whatever your product is that has a brand, that has a feel, that has a reputation. And so it all is an extension of who you are. And so then your team, your people, they become an extension of who you are. And so back to the scenario, I'm talking to the individual. I want to make sure that I'm not taking over everything. I'm allowing them to express areas where they're stressed, or maybe areas where they're having difficulty, or maybe areas where they need support. How can I support them? If I can support them, if I can't support them, what other options and opportunities are there for this? How can we solve this? How can we move forward? I'm enabling them still without taking the reign and doing it myself. I'm enabling them to exercise and stretch those muscles so that they can be fully vested in what it is that they're doing and be proud of the accomplishment that not only we made as a team, but they made as an individual. Y'all, that takes work, because my judge lawyer space just kind of wants to get it done, and so to be able to fall back, right, and go into that serving mode. And this is even for people that you are paying, right? Sometimes we have volunteer staff, sometimes we have people that we're paying. Of course, there's a certain level of expectation that you're able to do certain things, but if you are like a part of my team and you're helping me build, then I'm investing a little bit more in you. I'm serving you in that way. That is my way of serving you. And then it recognizing that it is not just about me as a leader, it is about my team, because quite honestly, I can't get to the levels that I want to get to without the people undergirding me to get me there. And so I want to create a sense of commitment, a sense of loyalty, a sense of trust, right, in these relationships, and making sure that the people, I said this in the episode that we talked about, with people having the right people or having an effective team, making sure that the right people are doing the right things, right? Because then that allows them to operate in their zone of genius. And if they operate in their zone of genius, then we are able to they're able to maximize their potential. We're able to maximize the potential in what it is that we're doing as a company, as an organization. And it's a win-win for all of us. When they win, I win, right? So the goal is to continue to further help you win. I think also as it concerns leadership, it is really important that you're not afraid that people will exceed your space. So I think a lot of times I don't want to give them too much. I don't want to tell them too much. I don't want to give them too much opportunity because they may surpass me. I've actually been under a leader like that. And it was just like, it was like the leader will always dangle a carrot in front of me to make me produce and to make me work with promises of advancement, promises of promotion, promises of moving up, but would never allow me to be able to move up. And as a result of their fear that I would supersede them. Right. And so that was horrible, by the way. Can I just say? I call that the salesman leader, the lion leaders. Let me stop. But what it really did was it just made me feel very undervalued. Also made me feel like I was never good enough, even though the things that I was doing was on, I could find factual documentation that showed that it was on another level. But because that person, because of their own insecurities, because of their own fears, they kept me stagnant or tried to keep me stagnant because I ain't there no more. But yeah. And so as a leader, we have to look inside. What are we insecure about? What insecurities do we have that we need to work on? We need to be able to own and admit when we're wrong, right? When we've made a mistake. You're going to want your team to admit to you earlier than later when they have made a mistake, when they have done something wrong. And if you are not leading by example in doing that, you're not creating a space where they feel like they can do that for you too. And so, and it's just healthy because we don't know everything. If we knew everything, we wouldn't have these other people and be outsourcing and contracting and hiring people to do things. We need each other. We need other people. And so being able to quickly admit when you're wrong and continuously move on, that like goes a long way for building trust, for building respect, and for building loyalty within a team. Because so often people have positions, right, of leadership or of power. And as soon as they get that power, because of all the other insecurities and things that they have going on, they misuse it. They abuse it. Now they're trying to tell you what to do and be the quote unquote boss and checking people and doing all these little silly things. And really, that in the long run does not help them develop the type of team that they want, create the type of culture that they want, and help them advance, because those people are not going to stay there, especially if you got some good people. Okay. And so that's super important. Now, on the other side of that, you can have all these great, some of the things I'm talking about are soft skills, people skills. We haven't even gotten into like communication. All I'm going to say about communication right now, because I feel like that's a whole nother podcast episode, is the goal in communication is to communicate in an effective way that the person that is intended to receive the information actually receives and understands what it is that you're saying. And so if you say it in a way that they don't understand, or it's not their method of communication and they can't receive the information well, then you've been ineffective in your ability to communicate with them. And so that's all I'm going to say about that. Other than that, we just have to make sure that we are setting ourselves up to create the culture and the spaces that we want, right? One of the whole reasons about, becoming an entrepreneur and doing things your way is so that you can do things your way. You can create a space that you actually enjoy, that you actually like getting up to and doing every day. You have the power here, right? You do have the power, but it is going to take intentionality. It's going to take effort. I'm not going to sit up here and lie to you that it's easy. It is not easy. That's why a lot of people don't do it. We talk about poor leadership all the time. I could tell y'all stories. Oh my gosh. The reason why I went into organizational leadership is because I was under such horrible leadership in several different scenarios. And it just, it just blew my mind, but it also broke my heart. And so we have the ability to create the spaces, not only the products, not only the services, but create the spaces and create the team that can allow us to be phenomenal and allow them to be phenomenal as well. The other thing I was going to add is that we do need to have a balance, right? So we still do need to be productive. We need to be effective. We need to have that space too. And so it's a managing of those things. It's an assessing. It's a letting our team speak. It's a getting feedback, right? And not just getting feedback and never circling back, right? Getting feedback and continuously evolving and improving and growing to see how we can do better. But it all starts with us evolving and improving as an individual. And so that's why I love having these podcast episodes where we help women and just people in general do well in life, like continue to evolve, continue to grow. The more you know about you, the more you can do, the more impactful you can be. The more you know how to show up with other people, right? And so yeah, I just wanted to hop on here real quick and just talk a little bit about that leadership space. Y'all let me know if y'all want more information on this, because I could talk for days. I'm trying to just really stay focused and not go all over with it. Let me know if you want to have, if you like some more podcast episodes about communication, if you like some more podcast episodes about conflict resolution, if you like some more podcast episodes about team building and all those different things. Y'all know I could talk about it, but that can get kind of boring if you're not into that thing. But I did want to add this to this Doing Business Well series because it's super important. And a lot of times we coin ourselves as bosses, but we don't even know how to lead. I'm going to let that sit right there. We don't know how to lead people. We know how to boss people around, but we don't know how to lead them. We don't know how to develop them. And we're challenged even with developing ourselves. And so, again, it all starts with us. It all starts with us. Self-awareness is your friend, okay? It will actually help you stay out of traumatic situations, right? And encounters, because if you know certain things about yourself and you can start working on it, then it also helps you know how to show up with different people and in different scenarios. And so it's super important. It's super important. So guys, y'all ready for the next couple of episodes that we're going to have? I'm excited to hear about like the tough seasons, the things people have been through, the challenges, particularly in business, but maybe I'll ask them some questions about leadership too. Because I know that is a whole challenge. It grows you as an individual, as it's growing your team and your people, but it's a good thing. It's a good growth. And I know that you guys are called to this, right? I know that you're called to this. So that means that, God doesn't give you any more than you can handle. And so just embrace the process, position yourself to always be a learner, to always be a student, to grow. You can learn from your people, right? Just like they can learn from you. And so until next time, talk to you later.